Welcome folks to Wear and Tear, yet another YouTube outdoor and gear channel. Today I want to do a little review of the Sofirn Q8. As you see, I'm already in the progress of testing this light. I'll look in particular at the quality of light, the run times, whether it overheats. I already love the tripod connector, it comes in really handy. Now anyways, I will finish this construction site, at least do my chores for today, and then I'll plan to do an in-depth review and presentation of the Sofirn Q8. Stay tuned.
Alrighty, the Sofirn Q8 is a soda can style flashlight. It has approximately the size of a large soda can. It has a bit more weight, so it's still handy enough to go in a jacket pocket. Well, this light belongs to the Q8 family of lights. There are many different Q8 lights from different manufacturers. Another one would be Torfire. Yet another one would be BLF. Budget Light Forum has a Q8 light out. And they all come with slightly different user interfaces, a different selection of LEDs, but it's basically the same light sold under different names, definitely the same host, different electronics and LEDs to a certain degree. Now, if you look at the light, it is a high quality flashlight with all the hallmarks of a high quality flashlight. A very nice glass lens. I think it's coated as well. Aluminum reflector, of course. The body is type 3 anodized. So this one is a modified version of the original light, modified to the degree of higher resilience. I added some rubber O-rings on both ends to increase the impact resistance, because you should know this is a very heavy light and it only has springs on the negative terminal in there. Yeah, the springs are in there, but it has no springs right here. Only takes button top cells, and these are modified cells. Put a solder blob on top of these cells. Now the light can run on any number of cells, starting with one cell, but it will give you best performance with all 4 cells, of course, especially when it comes to turbo mode, because it takes a lot of energy in turbo mode. It's 5,000 or more than 5,000 lumens. Now the user interface, that's a different kind of beast. The user interface is basically based on a software, I think it's called Narsil, and it's super complicated. You can really adjust everything with this light. You can even, if you have a certain sequence of clicks, I think it gets up and makes you scrambled eggs. At least if you add a tripod mount. So this flashlight is really, really smart thanks to the software. Basically has an artificial intelligence. So I love the tripod mount. It's just awesome. And it gives you so many more options. Now anyways, as regards to the user interface, you can adjust anything. You can select whether it's temperature regulated or with a step down timer, for example. You can adjust whether the button lights up or not. But for me, this has no relevance, because this is the user interface it comes with. It basically gives you a bunch of links to online forums where you can really get to know all the details of this type of light. It comes with the most important information, especially safety regulations. But on the other hand, the presets on this flashlight are excellent. Long press comes on low mode. You ramp it up all the way to maximum 5,000 lumens. You ramp it down, you ramp it up, you ramp it down. You give it a double click and have turbo mode. You ramp it down, you turn it off, you turn it on, it comes on, it has full mode memory. And you want it on low mode, long click, low mode, moon mode. So it already has a user interface that is excellent, that is very basic, but is extremely useful in reality. Now, as you have already seen, I have used this light on a construction site, and the user interface was perfect for that, especially the ramping is wonderful. I ramped it at about 50% of the light output. The light barely got warm. The lights served me well for about 3.5 hours. Then the battery warning came on. The batteries were under 3 volts each, I think. I didn't measure them, but that's what the safety shutoff is, 2.8 volts or something like that. So the batteries were still fine, but then the warning came on. So 3.5 hours of output, well over, I would say, maybe approaching 2000 lumens. So anyways, I had it on the tripod. It barely got warm. It served me well on the construction side. So what you get is a light that is not only bright, but has excellent heat dissipation and excellent run times. Now, I don't want to go into the technical details of this light. It is more a searchlight, it's more thrower. It is a cold white light color, but it of course has useful spill, so that's why I was able to actually use it on my construction site. Now, what I would wish for future flashlights of this size and design, well, I wish they would come with some rubber armor. Like, when you come to such heavy and large flashlights, the drop resistance will always be an issue. Even if the aluminum housing is excellent and very resilient, well, it doesn't matter. The electronics inside are always vulnerable. So I wish Chinese flashlight manufacturers, especially when it comes to quality flashlights like this, would remember that there is something that they call polymers. And it makes sense to combine metal and polymers. Even in a simple form like I did, those polymers add something that the metal housing of the flashlight alone could never offer. Drop resistance, better grip, and still the heat dissipation is not affected by those O-rings. Now, the way to do it, you take 3 O-rings on each side, you get them all the way over the flashlight, glue them together with super glue, and then you slide the O-ring out so the top O-ring contracts. It is still joined with the other O-rings. The top O-ring contracts, so the edge is perfectly protected and everything holds together, and I could remove the O-rings, so the additional armor, if I wanted to. Now anyway, so I would love if they remember that there's something like O-rings, or something like polymers, just from a practical user standpoint. I'd also love if they remember that there is something like diffusers. If I had a Q8 light, if I had a good diffuser for the Q8 light, that again would add a lot of functionality. I could then maybe use it even as a lantern, or definitely to have a diffuser is just very useful for many close range applications. Now, other than that, Sofirn produced yet another excellent flashlight that is really highly practical. I love to actually use it. I will put it to good use. If there is ever a problem with it, I will talk about it on my YouTube channel. Now, there is one funny thing that I noticed. Look at the switch. I don't know if you can see that, but the switch has a T on it. And I have seen the T before. It was from a Torfire flashlight. I think it was the Torfire S40. That is it was a very powerful flashlight powered by 2 26650 cells. And I had that for many years before I sold it. And it had the same button. So this button alone tells me that Sofirn and Torfire have something to do with each other. Whether they source the same parts or whether they even are out of the same factory, I don't know. I'm really curious because I did like the Torfire lights as well. I think they were a great compromise between budget and quality. And Sofirn is even a step up from Torfire as far as I understand it. Torfire is like, in the meantime, it's a top-notch quality manufacturer, but they have some link with that old company Torfire. The button is just giving it away. I found that funny. Now, anyways, let's go and watch some outdoor beam shots. First, the Sofirn Q8F on full power. There
There's a couple of ducks down there. There's a little creek. So this is the smaller C8 light on full power. Oh, now it's on full power. So now it's actually 3000 to 3500 lumens. That's a lot of light. Let's see if we can see a difference to the Sofirn Q8. This is 5000 lumens. We have a colder white as compared to the more neutral white of the Sofirn C8F. Yeah, it's significantly more light output. Let me turn on the C8F. Yeah, the C8F is on the left side. Let's make sure it's on full power. Yeah, it's on full power. And the Q8 is on the right side. See, those ducks are withdrawing, they're smart. So this is the, you can see the range on the Q8 is compared to the way lower range on the C8F. Now we bring the Q8 into play. Now we have some punch. Now without the Q8, much less punch. The C8F is much more floody than the Q8. But this is the picture just with the C8F. This is if we add the Q8. Now we withdraw the C8F. Those lights are of course not direct competitors. Different format, way different run times, different batteries. But just to compare what a 3000 lumens light can do compared to a 5000 lumens light. Yeah. This is pretty cool, very awesome. So I hope you find those outdoor beam shots useful, giving you a little bit of impression of how this looks in real life on max power. Now let's ramp it down. This is still ample of light for most applications. Even this is enough light to walk your dog, but this is the real deal. Whoa. Night sun. Yeah, very enjoyable as a tool and as a toy alike. This was Wear and Tear, over and out. Bye bye.